Welcome back again. In this chapter, I will be focusing on the tires. It is a difficult part of the car to model, and most people use textures or displacement maps to make it. But my job is to show you modeling techniques, so in the next 10 minutes, you will learn how to model the tires. First, we will create one transversal segment, which will be copied into the next step. After that, we will use the bend modifier to make the shape of the tire. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, we will create the basic shape of the segment from a plane. Okay, that's good. Okay, go ahead and convert this to editable poly, and we will start editing the shape. First, I will copy those two edges on both sides of the tire to make some provisional sides. Alright, now I have to use the scale tool to move the vertex on those two new edges away from each other and gain a nice and smooth arc. Alright, now I'll use the chamfer tool to divide the edge on this corner. I can do this on one side of the tire because I will mirror it to the other side when I finish it. And then the second chamfer. Okay, I'll move this edge a little bit to make sure this arc is more angular. Great. Now we can start making holes on the tire. I will create some simple patterns, but using this method you are able to create even some complex designs of the newest car tires. I advise you to analyze the shape of the tire before starting it, because in this phase we have to cut our segments correctly to gain the expected shape. If you create the wrong geometry now, in the next few steps you will have a lot of problems with corrections. When after preparing good geometry, you can select the polygons that are in places where there should be holes and extrude them with negative values. We have to delete the unnecessary polygons. Because of this, after copying the segments, we will have a constant holes without any breaks. Alright, now I will create the line in the center of the segments and divide it on two equal parts, so I will be able to delete one of them so the work will be easier. Okay, so now I can create more details on the tire. First, I will add two new segments by dividing all those edges, so I set the connection to 2. Next, I have to move them away from each other to place them on both sides of the object, just like that. Now I will delete those two vertexes and two more on the other side of the tire. So when I copy those two edges and connect them to the opposite, I will have the correct shape of the pattern for the tire. And to obtain a better look, I will move a vertex a little bit on each side of this box. These two vertexes I will move back, and the next two I will move to the front, so now the shape is much more aggressive. Now, I need to build a side of this arc here, so we'll copy these edges down. Alright. Now, I will weld the vertexes in the corner close to the geometry. And now, I have to position the vertex to make the correct shape. I want to create a smooth transition. Okay, now it's good, but we still need holes for the water. To create them, I need to move all the vertexes that are placed on the corner of the segments. This vertex I can weld, but the next I have to move by hand. I have to control the position of the vertex in the top and front view to make the geometry straight. So now I'll have a nice smooth transition from the side of the tire to the top of it. And together with coming from the top to the sides, our holes get smaller, just like a real tire. Move that a little bit here. I think this method is perfect because we have to work a little on only one small segment, so the work is much faster than it would be if we worked on the whole tire. Alright, here I have to use the cut tool because I have to create one more vertex, but as you can see, I've got a little problem. Alright. Okay, I finally made it. So now I have to remove this edge, and now I can weld this vertex to the one on the right. And that's all. Of course, I have to make this the same on the other side, but I am lazy. So I'll just delete those segments and then copy the already made polygons. So thanks to this, I will save my time and I will be sure that my model is equal. Okay, so I copy the polygons, of course, to the new object. Now, I have to use the mirror tool and of course on these copied polygons. Well, as you can see, when I pressed the undo key in my Max, automatically connected those two copied polygons with the whole object. That's quite strange, but there is no problem. We can simply fix it by using the detach tool. Okay, now finally I can mirror those polygons. Of course, I have to move them and position them correctly in the right place. Now I'll connect those objects by using the attach tool, and then I'll be able to weld the operation to merge the vertex. Alright, as you can see, the vertex welded correctly. So the segment is almost done. Maybe I'll make it a little wider. Okay, I think that's going to be good right there. So there's only one thing I want to make. I'll move all of those vertexes a little bit to the left, so I'll gain a nice effect on the rotation. This will make my tire a little bit more realistic. Alright, let's take a look. Great. Now, first I have to add a symmetry modifier on my segment, because at this moment, I have only got one half of it. Of course, as always, I will convert my model to poly, so I'll be able to edit. Okay, so now, when the one single element is done, I need to copy it many times. Now I have to detach the new segment to the previous one, and next weld the vertex on the line of connection. It's important because we don't want to have holes in our tire. Okay, and again, we have to copy our segments, but this time, we will copy all polygons and not the object, and of course, to this element. In doing this, we will save a lot of time for attaching new segments. Just see how fast that was. And again, we have to repeat this operation. We need to make a real looking tire, and as you probably know, tires have gotten many segments. What is reassuring is after every copy our segments are longer, so as you can see, this work is not as hard as we thought at the beginning. I don't know exactly how many segments to grate, but if you want to be sure, you can go outside and start counting them on your car. Well, my tire is quite long now, but I think it is still too short. I'll repeat this operation 2 more times, and this will be enough. Well, my segments are so long now that I've got a little problem with positioning them correctly. Maybe that's going to be enough. Let's check it out. Well, unfortunately now, I have to position them more precisely. So let's go back and try to get them right. Finally, I got it right. Let's hope there won't be any annoying problems with the next segments. But to save time, I will make it myself and be back to you with an already made object. Alright, I'm back with the finished tire model, which we have to bend now. We will go ahead and use the bend modifier to make it. So let's find that right now. Oh, here it is. Oops. There we go, right there. Alright, first, we have to get the correct angle in the bend parameters. We want to make it a circle, so we need to type in 360. Well, that doesn't look right. But don't worry, first we have to choose the correct axis, and next we have to set up the right direction. So, that's good value, but we have to change its mark to minus. Okay, now it's perfect. At least we have the correct angle value. As you can see here, we've got a little hole that we're going to have to fix here. To gain on this, we just need to increase the angle value just a little bit. I think 1 degree is probably going to be too much. So let's go ahead and try 360.9. Well, that's going to be a little bit too much right there as well. So let's try 360.7. Perfect. Great. Now we can convert the object to poly and finish our tire. First, we have to weld the vertex on the connection line because the bend modifier did not connect both sides of the object. When we set up the correct value or the weld parameter, we have to be sure that the smallest distance between the two single vertexes of the tire is higher than the distance between those vertexes on the connection line. In other case, we would have to weld those vertexes by hand, but in this case, I'm sure that this is the smallest distance between vertexes, so I can use the weld tool on all vertexes without any doubts. I think that my tire is a little too narrow, so I'm going to scale it to gain the correct shape. I can scale it all I want and make many sizes without any problems. Now, I'm going to delete half the tire so I will be able to edit it on one side of it. And in the end, I will use symmetry. I have to make a side of the tire, so first I will copy all those edges. I will make it with the scale options, so in one moment I can create the side surface of the tire. Alright, now, I just have to make the correct shape to the object. I want to make the side surface more rounded, so I will add 2 new segments on the selected edges. Next, I will move them a little to gain a smooth arc. Now I'm going to grab the new segment here and I'm going to go ahead and loop that and move them to make it a little bit of a smooth arc. Alright, the shape of the tire is ready, but I think it's a little bit too angular. To solve this problem, we just have to apply a smooth modifier to our object, and now our tire is smooth. The tire is ready. We can now position its pivot, because it will help us in the future when we have to fit our tire to the car. As you can see, we can simply scale it and gain the correct size of it. Now we only have to use the symmetry tool to finish the tire. In the next chapter, I will focus on the wheels. So, see you then.